Hello, hello. Here we are. We're going to be talking about my yoga teacher training starting at the end of this month, running all the way until the end of September, and it's going to be amazing. So we're going to have fairly soon we're going to request okay, let me see if I can find a way to invite Lucilla. You're on, hopefully. Lucilla, are you going to join us, darling?
I wanted to be able to see you. How do I do that? There we go. It's a slightly different. So.
Today, honestly, this is not my thing.
Oh, morning, evening to you, of course.
Oh, sorry, darling. Yes, it's evening here. It's morning where you are. So how are you, Lucilla? Right, let me introduce you first. This is my dearest friend, Lucilla Hammond, who is an amazing yoga teacher and an expert in Ayurveda, to me, an expert in Ayurveda. And she is going to be part of this year's yoga teacher training because she will be in the UK. So she, in June, that will be the weekend that you run, and you will be giving us lots of tools how to incorporate an Ayurveda lifestyle in our day-to-day life. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us more.
Okay, so I've known Esme a long time, and I do just want to give kudos to Esme and her incredible journey. If you are looking for a journey of transformation, go no further than to journey with this woman, because she is the goddess of transformation. She's done such an amazing job to really bring her life in alignment to herself and her soul. So I just have loved watching her journey and being part of it as well. So super excited to be here with you, sister. And it's really, really nice. Yeah, I used to live in Edinburgh years and years ago. That's how Esme and I met. And I found a little yoga studio back in the day when actually yoga wasn't that big. And I used to just go to class once a week and never thought much about it. But it completely changed my ability to manage my moods and depression, because living in Edinburgh I found very difficult, particularly with the seasons. So, I moved back to Australia and I couldn't find a yoga teacher where I moved to. So I became one. You are your best teacher, as they say. And during that time, I had an Ayurvedic aspect to my yoga teacher training as well. And I looked at that and I just thought, I don't know, that doesn't really align with me. And I just went down the yoga rabbit hole, as you do. I mean, there's just so much there, right? There's so much to learn in yoga. There's so many levels. So I dug very deep. And then about 2 years later, I brought my head back up and thought, I just want to have a look at that Ayurvedic aspect of my training again. And it just clicked then. It just clicked. And I started digging down that rabbit hole. Anything coming out of India is so rich and so full and so deep, the layers and layers and layers that you can learn. You never stop learning. And that's one of the beauties about both of these systems, which are actually often called sisters, and they are literally have grown up together. They're from the four main Vedas, both of them, so they grow up side by side. And yoga has become very well known in the Western world, and I think Ayurveda is beginning to catch up and has been really for the last 10 or 15 years, becoming more and more aware. But it is, it's so good to marry these two systems. So did you want to say anything, Esme?
I do, actually, because what I like about you, well, and actually I think it's something that we have in common, is that for me, theory is all very well. Theory, I like theory, and that's good, but I only remember the theory that I use. If I don't use it, I don't remember. And I like you because you have the same approach in a different way. You are much more methodical than I am in some ways. I might be maybe more consistent, but you're more methodical. And tell us what you're going to teach us. What are we going to learn with you? Because I'm really looking forward to it as well.
Well, I know you've done a little bit of Ayurveda as well. So, yeah, just to go back a little bit with, I did first, when I got really curious about Ayurveda, I did a 9-month training with a woman called Kate Stillman. She's a living Ayurveda who is, you know, she's a superstar in the modern Ayurvedic world. She's a real, you'd love her actually because she's great at hacking. She's a life hacker. If I know Esme, one of the things she does well is she hacks things really, really well. So she takes the shortcuts wherever you can. But yeah, very, very practical. So I learned from that. And then a couple of years later, I decided, as you know, to go to India and to study Ayurveda in India. So I lived in one of the Ayurvedic clinics there in Kerala for 3 months and studied, which is a very, very different experience to a Western approach. So it was really interesting to get these two really very different approaches to Ayurveda. But at the heart of it all, Ayurveda is a medical system, or it's the oldest known medical system. So let's say the oldest known written / medical system, not taking anything away from the indigenous communities around the world that also have been holding plant and medicine knowledge for a very long time as well. But it is the oldest known and written one. And it's based on there's based on a few things, but one is knowing thyself. So I think in this way that yoga gives us this tool and this cultivation of observation, of awareness, of beginning to understand a little bit more about yourself. And then Ayurveda is asking you to do that in a little bit more depth and a little bit more practical steps in your daily life. And this is done through the doshas. And the doshas are a combination of energies from the five elements. So Ayurveda works with the foundations because it has its own creation philosophy. And I love the creation philosophy because it makes the whole world make sense. Like if we can really begin to break this down and understand.
I actually find amazing that Ayurveda finds those elements in absolutely everything we do. So the element is not just on us, it's in what we eat, in the seasons, and in everything. And that's what I find fascinating.
Well, this is why the elements are so important, because when you think about creation, it started with the 5 elements. That is, in space, that's what happened. There was nothing, there was something, and life was created, or the universe was created. Maybe not immediately life, but then it's from these 5 elements that everything has been created. And then when it comes into a physical thing, then it is compacted into the doshas, which are a combination of the elements. And then so every one of us is very uniquely made up. We have what I call our Ayurvedic DNA. So on the day, or actually the moment of conception, everything is, put in sort of place, and you have your constitution, let's say, if we don't want too much of the Sanskrit. But yeah, so you have a makeup, you have a certain way of being. And so I've got a little, I'm quite Vata. If you know anything about, my mind works, I'm Vata Pitta, but my mind works a little bit like woo, woo, woo. And so I go off track. And then sometimes I find it hard to find my way back there. And I know
what I find funny about you is that if you talk to Lucilla, this is for general people, she will just say, oh, she's just been so Pitta. Or just be careful, because at the moment the stars and align in such a way that the Pitta, Vata, and you're always talking those ways. And I always find it fascinating.
It's a language for me now, because there were a few things I was going to say, and then they're gone and I've moved on. But one of the things that I did want to say about knowing Ayurveda is knowing your dosha, knowing yourself, and how that has this incredible impact on just accepting. Like, this is one of our biggest things, I think, particularly maybe as Westerners, that we have to do, is learn to accept and love ourselves with our flaws. Like, there's just so much pressure to be flawless, to be this amazing being with, you know, all singing, all dancing. We all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. And we can really cut ourselves up about those weaknesses or about certain tendencies. But once you learn, this is your genetic makeup in a way, like, you are set to be like that, you just like go, oh, I forgive you, Lucilla, like, for being so forgetful. How can I be so forgetful? How can I be, you know, like, getting exhausted too quickly from my personality? My personality is bang, bang, bang. My energy levels are not always there.
Bang, bang,
so
bang.
Bang, bang, bang. I want that, but it's not always there. And that's my nature. And it's complicated because of a certain condition I had years ago as well. But yeah, it allows us to accept who we are in the way that we are, not necessarily in a way that says you can't do anything about that. You know, it is about balancing and bringing balance all the time. Can I just finish by saying one other thing? And it helps you also be completely accepting and forgiving of other people's tendencies. Like, when I get someone in front of me who's really slow at speaking and moving, I find it frustrating. Like, and it used to really piss me off. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm going to finish your sentences for you. This is the Vata nature, right? Come on, let's do it quick. And then I think, wow, that's a kapha. Kapha is so beautiful. I love you. Like, just have some patience, Lucilla. It changes your relationship with people. That's why I think like that.
One thing. So over the weekend, you are going to give us a lecture of basics of Ayurveda knowledge. We're going to be testing our doshas, but explaining it, because that's quite hard. Like, I've done, everybody can do the test of the doshas, but I remember when I was doing an Ayurveda course also, it was a completely different story. Like, the teacher was seriously explaining every single thing. So by the end, I really understood which dosha I was, or which kind of, the percentages. What else are we going to do? And give us one example. If someone, because there's a few people joining us in here and people that will look at that afterwards. There are things that you do. I actually don't know if this is Ayurveda or not, but you always come up with these things of putting, well, this is things that maybe I shouldn't be mentioning here, but the toilet rolls on the toilet. Sit down in the toilet and put toilet rolls underneath so your knees go up. So that's one thing that you do. Another thing that you mentioned is to take the skin of an avocado and put it on the skin. And then that thing that you brought me, it was the most amazing stuff that you put after a bath. I've never touched my skin being so smooth. And this
Look,
is
absolutely. Ayurveda will make you beautiful inside and out. I love Ayurveda beauty. It's just incredible. But yes, so the idea is to get a little practical, but I want people to go away with a firm foundation as well. Because if you can have the foundations of what it is that you're doing, and you can have that understanding at this level, then you can apply it in your own unique way. You are a unique person. You can work it out for yourself as well. So I'm not really strict in, like, my Ayurvedic training in India is like, that's not Ayurveda, it's like this. And it was very, you know, like, controlled, because you had the text from the original person who wrote that, and that's the most important thing. To me, the most important thing is, but I don't have access to buffalo milk, so what other milk could I use? You know, what other milk? No, you use buffalo milk. That's what the book says. It's like, wow, you know, in Australia, we don't have buffalo milk. But yeah, so it's interesting how you apply everything for yourself. So one of the things I'd like to have everybody go away with is the ability to have a basic understanding so they can apply it to their own lives in their own way with what they have. Because, for example, Dinacharya, which is very, very important. It's the daily routine. This is one of the ways that we live in rhythm, because though right at the beginning of this talk, I talked about some ways that Ayurveda asks you. One is to know thyself and to take your power back, because in this messy, synthetic, medicated world, we seriously need to step back, take our own power back, stop giving it to somebody else and saying, you know better for my body than me. You really need to step that up and say, I know my own body and I'm going to manage it. I just want to say there's 6 stages to disease, and the Western world only recognized the last 2. So in Ayurveda, you have another 4 steps to stop disease in its tracks, right? So this is just an idea of how deep we can go and how much we can self-manage. So dinacharya and living in rhythm and living with nature. Big, big, big part of Ayurveda, and we live in rhythm with nature through our dinacharya, which is our daily habits, and through food, and using food as medicine. So really using your spices and your kitchen as part of like a conscious way of living. And for me, that goes much further, is the way that we waste and use things in our world right now is out of control. So I try and eliminate waste. I try and eliminate plastics out of my daily life, and storing things in plastic or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways that you can apply the Ayurvedic approach. But it does teach you what is around you in your environment is everything you need to thrive in that environment. So what happens in Ayurveda when it gets popular around the world is that they just want to use the Ayurvedic plants. Well, the Ayurvedic plants are grown in India and they're for the Indian climate. Right? So what do we have in our own backyard that we can use? What is our culture offering us in its wisdom? And can we not begin to weave these things together and apply them in a more easeful way? But once you have some of the basics, like the basic ideas and do's and sort of don'ts, or not that there's any real rules, balancing your dosha, because we're born with our Prakriti. That is what we are. It doesn't change. But what we have throughout life is our Vakriti. Our Vakriti is our imbalances. Oh, I see we have joining.
Is Sally joining us? Yes, is Sally joining us? Hold on.
Hello, hello.
Look, Sally. Sally is like me the other day. Oh, I'm here.
Okay, so did you want me to just finish up with anything?
Finish what you're saying. Finish what you're saying. Let's say hello to beautiful Sally. But also, let me just say hello, because we have Jill Banks here and Fiona, and we had Jane Salomon, by the way, Lucilla. Jen, it might.
I know, I thought Jen. Hi, Jen.
So there's a few people here that we should say hello. And Elise, oh, how nice, Elise.
Captain Kelly.
Anyway, yes, please, Lucilla, finish, darling. And let's say hello to Beth Ali.
Okay, well, I've lost my flow, but I just want to encourage anybody, whether you're joining Esme's amazing course or not, is to encourage you to investigate a little bit about Ayurveda and how it can support you in your life. And as a yoga teacher, if that's what you're planning on doing in life, then it's really important that you begin to get this support that you will need, because as we become more aware and more subtle, more in our subtle bodies, then we really need to begin to apply other things to help the energy, and just to help with the clarity and the focus. And then it allows you to support students who might be going through other things a little more deeply, a little more, because it's such a nourishing, as you say, like the things that we can do to nourish our own body is so beautiful. It offers such beautiful, beautiful practices. So.
Well, but you choose to meet each other, because that's Sally, who did the teacher training last year, and she's another one that is pretty incredible. And this year, she's not going to be part of the course because she's already done it, but she's also going to offer us something because she's a scientist. And anyway, someone very meticulous and very knowledgeable, and she has a lot to offer. So I'll leave you with us, Sally.
Beautiful. I shall leave you guys to it. I'm just going to have to work out how to get out of here, Esme.
I don't know either. I bet remove you from the live. I'll remove you. Oh, I don't know.
Remove me. I don't know. Live.
Yes, get out.
Leave. Got it. Okay, bye.
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 I know, eh? It's hard enough.
Can you hear me?
You have a lot of people loving you in here. You are
I know.
great, Sally. Love you.
What can I say, you know?
I understand. Tell us about you, darling.
So I did Esme's course last year. So I graduated as a yoga teacher in May this year. And I've not been teaching yoga since then. I went into the course just with the intention of just learning more about yoga, because it's a practice that I've loved for so long. And I used to live in Edinburgh, and I discovered yoga actually during my PhD. So I was doing research into kind of medicinal chemistry and looking at delivering drugs to the brain, and found that doing a PhD was quite stressful and I needed some way to de-stress myself. And that's when I found Esme. Loved going to her classes. She has just an amazing energy. I love that she changes up her sequences every week and you're always doing something new. And then after I finished my PhD, I actually moved through to Glasgow, and I work in science communication now. So a lot of the times I'll be kind of reading about scientific papers and taking these concepts and making them understandable to the more general public. And then saw that Esme was doing her first teacher training just after lockdown, and I'd always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to do a teacher training at some point. And when I saw Esme was doing one, I just thought I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. So it was great. I travelled to Edinburgh for one weekend a month, and it was just a really great experience. I went into it to learn more about yoga, which I definitely did, but also I didn't know how much I was going to learn about myself in terms of my own body. Studying all the anatomy that comes with the yoga training just makes you understand all these little things that go on in your body, and all these muscles that you didn't know you used, or the muscles that you need to use more. So that was really a great aspect of it. I loved learning about the philosophy of yoga. And one of the great weekends we did as well was with Esme and focused on energy and chakras. And I have to say, coming into that weekend, I was very skeptical. I think Esme's been doing Reiki on me for years, and I always thought in the back of my mind, God, it's just, she's holding her hands over me. It's never going to do anything. There's no science behind this. But at that weekend, I felt Reiki for the first time, and it absolutely blew my mind. So discovering all these things, and it's changed my practice going forward. I've loved integrating all of these things into my life. And one of the things that I loved the most about the course was the creativity that you can have in making up your sequences. I loved finding different themes for my classes. And it just, honestly, it didn't feel like homework at all. I'd always get back from the course and just be raring to go and make up my sequence for the next month. So it's a really great course to do, even if you're not going to be teaching yoga at the end of it. It definitely won't regret doing it. And I'm actually going to be making an appearance at the course this year coming. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the science behind yoga. I think we all know that yoga makes us feel better in our bodies and our minds. But I'll be looking and talking a bit about the actual research and the studies that have been done to show what effects it has on the different systems in the body and on the mind. So yeah, that's my story.
Well, actually, you were great. And I have to say, it's such a shame that you don't teach. But you don't teach because you can teach. Like your job, you
Well,
don't
maybe
like to
one
teach.
day. It's just finding the opportunities while I'm still, you know, working full time. But maybe in the future, I'll be a part-time medical writer, a part-time yoga teacher. But that's the thing, you know, it's never going away. You don't lose the qualification, do you?
No, you don't. And actually, I thought you were amazing because you were so methodical in the way you taught. Like, for anyone that in the future you see Sally teaching classes, you should go because her music will be perfect. Perfect to the sequence. I just love how you cut all the songs.
I love doing that as well, actually, making a playlist that goes with kind of the curve of the class and goes up and then down, and making the playlist fit to my themes as well, and trying to find a meditation at the end to fit my theme. It was a really nice way to be creative.
And don't you think, well, I don't know, for me, I think one of the great things about this course, I don't know if all courses are the same, that is practical. That you learn from the very beginning. And that is not just about yoga, we do all the aspects. I think by the end we learn meditation and how to guide them, because it was like that. Like everybody did breathing techniques by the end of the course. Everybody was able to run a short meditation, lead pranayama part of the class, sequence perfectly with themes, how to theme a class, continue with it, a perfectly structured class with a beginning, end, and an end, and everything made sense. That from the beginning, from the warm-up, you knew what you were going to work on the whole class. I was so proud of everybody at the end of the year.
Yeah, it was great. And like you say, very practical. Like from the first month, we were teaching little sequences to each other. And I think having a smaller group as well gives you so much more opportunity to teach. Oh, I just seen Bonnie, one of my guinea pigs.
I'm gonna read this. It says, this is someone called Bonnie.
Yeah, so this is one of my friends who came over to classes in my hallway when I was practicing.
Yeah, and he said, I was one of Sally's guinea pigs. Students, I love her classes and the sequences she put together.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. You should really teach more.
I know. I try and find opportunities.
Oh, you will. What about the park? Because you went to teach in the park.
Yeah, I did a class in the park, actually. That was nice. On the summer solstice.
Oh.
Which was nice.
Well, we had Claudine here the other day, and next week, on Monday the 16th, we're going to have Grace.
Oh, nice.
And Carol, I don't know if Carol is here. Let me see if Carol is here to say hello. Maria.
I think she was in.
Yeah, he is. Hi, Carol. Let's say hello to Carol. This is what she has to say. And then we'll finish because well, I don't know if she'll come in, but if she comes in, it'll be nice. And at least you two can see each other also.
I think that was the other thing that was so great about it, just that the group and how close we got and how we've all kept in touch afterwards.
I think it becomes really intimate, actually, the training, because you have to expose yourself so much.
Yeah, and you're sharing so much about yourself. You're growing together. You're learning together. It's really nice.
I don't think Carol is there, so maybe next
Yeah.
Sally, thank you so much for being here. I don't want to make it longer unless you have anything else to say, because it's going to be too long. Hey, Carol is saying, I'm here. Come in. Join us. Come on. Carol, join us. I'm requesting it. Maria. Is this Maria? I never really understand. Marito, venga aquí. Say hello to us. Come in. Join us. Is he coming? I'm here. I will be here on Monday too. Right. So she's not going to join us. I don't think she knows how to join us. Anyhow, Sally, thank you.
No problem. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you. And I'll let you know about the dates and you just come.
Sounds good. Maybe I can teach a class as well.
Well, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Absolutely. It would be great because honestly, I have to teach so much. So it's always nice to have someone else.
Yeah.
We can
Sounds good.
sequence something together and you teach it.
Yeah. Cool.
Brilliant. But that's the plan. So
Sounds good.
thank you so much. And thank
Thank
you to
you.
everybody that looks at this now or later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.